would devote an entire episode for this restructuring
I'm happy
issue,
to do that.
because we've not even dealt with it.
I know. I agree
So
with you.
let's leave it for now. The questions are many. Now, switching gears, you are one of the major backers of Mr. Peter Obi prior to 2023, a leading voice in the obedience movement.
Correct.
At what point did you realize you needed to, I don't want to say jump ship, and maybe go on your own, chart your own course, if I may use that phrase? At what point did you realize you had to move on?
It's an area I usually refrain from engaging at this point because I know people are interested. I have even been blamed, condemned, judged, unfairly because of this. But I have given enough information at this point. And what did I say? I said that the party that I had my hopes on, I was hoping that Labour Party was going to be the alternative. But what I now went through in Labour Party showed me they were even worse than the parties we were criticizing. And some of the people who were in leadership, including Mr. Peter Obi, for me, failed that test of leadership. We couldn't galvanize Labour to become that. And that's why the losses in different states. And then even in my own case, I was literally sacrificed. Literally. For whatever reason, I saw this coming and I couldn't believe it. Everybody expected me to be the candidate of Labour Party.
You were thrown under the bus.
It's unbelievable, but I don't want to go into details. Here's the issue. When I saw that happening, I engaged, I reached out, I fought, I appealed, where was this coming? Why was it happening? The only person Soludo was scared of was me. The only person that could have led Labour to win was me. But even the leadership, Congress was held, and everybody who were on my side were thrown under the bus in the Congress of Labour Party in Anambra State. I complained, I wrote petitions. So when I saw what was going on, it didn't make sense. I started even wondering, are we even serious? No, come on, I don't want to waste my time with unserious people. So even though I'm not a proponent of APC's ways, to be honest, I'm not proud of what APC has done. I'll be honest to say, even though I'm in APC, some of us are inside APC to say this to the leadership. Let's do better. Let's earn the trust of people. Let's conduct ourselves better. But I am better off being there to fight inside. At least I'm with some serious people than to be with unserious people. That's the reason. Let me stop at that.
We can't let this, we can't lay it to rest. Is Mr. Peter Obi a trustworthy person for leadership? I need to ask you pointedly, is Mr. Peter Obi a
I will let
trustworthy
Nigerians
person?
decide on that.
From your experience.
If I will answer that question,
Yes.
I will answer that question after the 2027 elections. I won't answer it right now. I just want to leave it at that. I don't want to, be an impediment to anybody's career. I wish Peter Obi well. I have my respect for him. And let me be honest, what Peter Obi has achieved in Nigeria, he became a symbol of, he helped to destroy many myths. For instance, we grew up, you're a Yoruba man, I'm an Igbo man. We grew up hearing all this mistrust about the Yorubas, and so some of us may actually die with this imagination that there's some innate mistrust and a suspicion. However, when Peter came out, I can tell you the top champions of that candidacy were actually Yorubas, from Obasanjo to the leader of Afenifere to the Delefaro Timis, the two DGs. And so when you now tell me a Yoruba man does not like Igbo man, I almost slap you because it's not true. That's what I mean by Afenifere. The point I'm making is that even that's all he achieved. So I feel that God used Peter to achieve certain things, and he has done that, and I commend him. So I don't want to speak in any derogatory term where he is. However, when I ask myself, if truly I hunger for Nigeria to be restructured, who can actually do it? Whether he would do it the way I expect is a different conversation, but who can actually get Nigeria who has the boldness to get Nigeria structured, I think the current president has by far more to offer. However, we can't just assume he's going to do it and do it well. So how do we come together as citizens? So if there's anything I want to involve myself in today, in today's Nigeria, how do we galvanize citizens? First, develop the blueprint and champion discourse and partner with government to see that Nigeria is reset. That, for me, is the legacy I would rather leave for my children.
Okay, some would argue, including myself, that your legacy should not be restructuring, it should be providing leadership, but that's not the question.
The answer is the same thing. You're actually saying two different. So you cannot restructure without the leadership. I am helping to provide the leadership. Great. Because if you don't have the leadership to do the restructuring, it becomes chaotic. So both are together. One is leadership, another is the strategy. Restructuring is the strategy of the leadership.
You are coming back to my position when we talked about this. But the issue is that even this president that you seem to believe will do it, has spent 3 years, by May will be 3 years. He's not done anything. And he has all the powers if he wanted to. That's not the question now.
Before you leave that, I don't want to leave that comment. See, we know in part. Okay. We see in part. Okay. That's a limitation of humanity. Because I am also spiritual. Anything I tell you, I can't even make any major step of my life without engaging God first. So, truly speaking, I am that deeply faith-based human being. And therefore, we see in part. You don't know what he has gone through. The reason I am not all out campaigning for Asiwaju is because I said to myself, I have to engage him one-on-one. I'll have to interrogate him and get convinced. Do you understand? So I'm only saying this because you're pushing me to say anything yet. So I'm not campaigning for Asiwaju. Not yet. However, if you ask me to make, because I now know most of these people, relatively, I know Tinubu, I know Atiku, I know Peter Obi, I know Rotimi. And if you ask me who is much more better placed to get this particular assignment, I'm not talking about any other thing. Some may be better in other areas, but this one agenda, you can't, I can argue this from here to heavens. However, I also don't want to fold my hands and hope that he does it. No, we can actually get this conversation to a point that he won't have a choice. Asiwaju will then do it because this is what Nigerians demand. If we could push it in these other smaller agenda items, how much this thing that literally our life, our spirituality, our development, our identity depend on. How much more now that, because before now, different people will be shouting this. This is actually what led to civil war. When Ojukwu and Gowon were in Abure and reached the accord, what was the issue? Ojukwu came back and said, on Abure we stand. Gowon said, no. Who? We knew where Gowon, how he changed his mind, who told him to change his mind, because we've always allowed, I wish our nationalists and who came after refused to allow their heads knocked over each other. I wish, no matter what, for instance, Britain did, that the Zigs, the Awolowos, the Sadranas, Ahmad Bellos had come together, Tafa Bello, to say, you know what? Let's come together as one and develop in our own interest. But what you find that some of these actions were actually not taken by us, not in our own interest. And so let's go back to that fulcrum and get it reset.
Beautiful. Let's lay the matter of Peter Obi and yourself to rest. People have said, I follow a lot of these issues, that it was Mr. Oseloka Obaze, Tony Nwoye, and a few others like that, who sowed the seed of discord between yourself and Mr. Peter Obi. In fact, I read something, where it was pretty much said that you're even naturally taller than him. You speak better. And I don't say that in derogatory terms, because Peter Obi, even however he speaks, he communicates, and he's a man of great stature. But people probably whispered in his ears that, hey, if you make this guy governor, this guy will loom larger than you, this guy would assume a larger than life status. What exactly, who exactly, and what perhaps drop a wedge between yourself?
I can only be God to not answer this question.
But you have your own, just like I read, you also read it.
You're trying to probe into what I've asked you to.
That's my job. That's my job.
Here's the issue here.
Yeah.
Please, why don't you engage Peter Obi himself and ask him these questions? And because anything, I don't believe in hearsay. And by the way, I don't even like this attitude of, you see an adult who takes a decision, just like when Buhari was in power. Some will come and be telling me there's a cabal influencing Buhari. No, don't tell me that bullshit. If Buhari is incompetent, he is incompetent. If he's taking advice from wrong people, still hold Buhari responsible. Don't look for somebody else to hold responsible. If anything is wrong with Nigerian government today, I will hold Mr. President responsible. Not his chief of staff, not anybody, because you have ability to sack the chief of staff and put somebody else. So leave Oseloka, leave Tony Moye. If you have anything to say about Peter Obi, engage him directly and ask him.